Liverpool lose at Anfield once again. Manchester City does the double against Liverpool. So many persons ask, why does Ancelotti still have a job? What is left this season, basically, for Liverpool to fight for? Lost at Anfield to Manchester United, lost at Anfield to Manchester City. I mean, drew at Anfield to Burnley.
Yeah.
What's going on at Liverpool? Why are they reluctant to let this guy go?
Well, he said something that what was left for them to fight for. Well, they are still in the Champions League, and so maybe they want to fight for the Champions League. But then,
can they hold their own in the round of 16 with this kind of wavy performances?
Champions League is a different ballgame mentality to the Premier League. But then, when it comes to the game proper for Ancelotti, I just feel they just want to let the season end and see how they can evaluate how the season has been for Liverpool and Ancelotti as well. So I think right now they're still in FA Cup, Champions League, and maybe they are still fighting for top 4 in the Premier League. So maybe if you at the end of the if he wins a little bit of let's say FA Cup, he wins the FA Cup and somehow gets to probably semi-final of Champions League, he might still have a job. But then I just feel they want to allow the season to end before they can evaluate.
And that's where my issue is. Why should they allow the season to end now? When we look at what has been prevalent in the last couple of months, Chelsea fired their manager for whatever reason. They are better now. Since this guy came on, they have not lost a Premier League game.
Yeah.
Manchester United fired their manager mid-season. They are on a 4-game winning run right now, having the time of their lives. And if it's because he won the league last season, that's not the first time that a manager who won the league the previous season will be fired.
Yeah.
There are a couple of managers that have done that. Ancelotti, Antonio Conte, the legendary Claudio Ranieri with Leicester City did not survive the following season. So what is this reason why Liverpool are willing to throw away this season? Because it feels like they are throwing away. I mean, defending champion that may not make top 4. I mean, the way they are going right now, it looks like the only way back to Champions League for them may be winning Champions League, which is a long shot.
Yes.
Because Chelsea is on the bounce right now. Manchester United is on the roll. Right now, it doesn't look like those two relinquish fourth and fifth for them. So, it will really be worth it if Liverpool doesn't make top 4 this season.
Firstly, we have to talk about the culture. Every team has their own culture. I don't know. You bear me witness. I'm not sure Liverpool has this culture of
firing
managers. And if you look at the last 10, 15 years, they will still prefer to stick to a manager and maybe for 1, 2, 3 years, even if the goal doesn't get so good like that. So, but considering the kind of results they're having, I believe it can only get worse. At the moment,
this can only get worse or better.
Well, it will get worse because if
it should actually be fired.
You understand that considering the kind of abysmal performance they have, he should be fired. But this is still Liverpool. I don't believe they sack coach just like that. They can decide to leave him to the end of the season. But considering the result he's having, I will be very surprised if he even makes top 4 at the end of the day, because Manchester United is now on the roll. Chelsea seem to be getting the good results from small teams,
especially in the Premier League.
Those small teams, they are destroying the small teams. The only problem they're having is the big teams. But unfortunately, Manchester United is even getting it now against the small and the big teams. Unfortunately for Liverpool, they can't.
2 small teams, 2 big teams.
Unfortunately for Liverpool, the small teams, they always discipline. They can't discipline the small, and the big team is not even a problem.
I mean, they are going to the Stadium of Light, in the next game. And we are not even sure that
this is one of the grounds whereby if you are not at your best, you will struggle.
They've not lost the game at Stadium of Light this season. Sunderland, they've not lost the game this season.
Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, if you are not
and you definitely cannot back Liverpool.
If you are not 100% and you go to the Stadium of Light, you will get beaten. It's a simple analogy. They will do everything to beat you. Physically throw the balls into your box, and this is a team that still can't defend.
So let's talk about on the field. What's the problem exactly? Is it tactics? Is it approach? What is wrong with Liverpool? I mean, what's that huge difference between Liverpool last season and Liverpool this season? The Liverpool that was working last season and this totally unrecognizable team.
Well, I just feel it's about the personnel. They're more like in a transition period, and it's kind of like they are struggling to get the tactics out there themselves. Because if you look at the game against Manchester City yesterday, at some point it looked like they were all over the pitch. the Liverpool players were all over the pitch. I mean, at some point you feel like, okay, there are times when you expect a player to make a pass and then it delays the pass. So I think there was one time they were on the counter, and I think it was Gakpo that had the opportunity to give a pass, and then it delayed the pass, and that opportunity went. So it's more like these guys, they're in a transition period, and the new guys that they brought in,
They're not able to marry them properly.
yeah, and also injury issues as well. If you look at their two right backs, they're out.
Playing the devil's advocate. Okay, Inshallah.
Let me talk about the tactics. I will still keep saying it. I don't know. According to what Slot said, he made a statement that I disagree with. He said he would rather play good football than win trophies.
Those are the kind of managers that Jose Mourinho was talking about.
Yes,
I die by my philosophy. I die buried by my philosophy.
The problem of Liverpool is staring everybody in the face. The midfield of Liverpool doesn't have defensive awareness. Especially when they decide to open. And
what happened to Gravenberch and Slobodan? I saw Gravenberch and McAllister. Where the defensive solidity in that midfield?
There was a time they were having that defensive solidity, but then the way they were playing is different from the way they are playing now. Then they were playing with the main purpose of getting the ball, using Arnold to get the ball to Salah, and from there they start to spread the attack. But now they're always wanting to go from the middle. And when you want to go from the middle, if you try it 4, 5, 6 times, and the way they play, they don't leverage on.
So one of the things that are suffering from is Trent exit.
Yeah, Trent exits, and they now they are spreading their attacks, and most of their players who have defensive awareness, they will likely lose the ball, and when they lose the ball, they're always in trouble, especially from the midfield. I don't know in situations whereby you have problem with your team, you can go pragmatically. There's nothing bad in bringing in Endo. Play a much more defensive midfield.
He doesn't seem to fancy Endo. The only time he has brought Endo in,
I was expecting them to bring in a much more defensive midfielder in January to partner Gravenberch.
And that's why I wanted to go. Also, playing the devil's advocate, would you say that maybe Slot is not entirely to be blamed? I mean, I think it was entirely criminal that this Liverpool team did not add anybody. Okay, fine, they added Jeremy Jacquet, yes, who would not play until the summer, but they did not add anybody that can improve the squad right now.
Yes, and you know where the problem is coming from. You can see the problem. You can see the.
I mean, we could hardly wait. After the summer transfer window closed on September 2nd, yes, we could hardly wait till when they missed out on Goyi. We could hardly wait till January for them to snap up Goyi back and try and fix that defense. They didn't sign Goyi. They didn't sign anybody. They just. It's almost like the Liverpool. I mean, how could any chief executive feel like the Liverpool that we saw from August till January was good enough to end the season and end it well?
Now, Slot believes they are playing good football.
Now the thing is, they spent a whole lot in the summer. They spent a whole lot. They bought Isaac, they bought Florian Wirtz, they bought players in summer. They bought Ekitike. Now, January transfer window is coming. We can say okay, they need to buy players, but then is there any quality player that they can bring in during this January transfer window? And clubs want to leave that player. If they are going for a player, that means that player is also important to his club. And no club wants to leave a player that's very important to him in January transfer window. Unless maybe that clubs are in need of cash right now. No club wants to leave a player that is very, very important during the January transfer window and allow him to be maybe on loan or something. And so I think that's one of the reasons why, because there are not too much quality players that they can actually bring in right now. So they are looking, okay, let's just see if we can manage
it to the
summer and go for players that we can go.
What if they finish 10th before the summer?
Let me come in. I don't think if they decide to sign maybe a defensive midfielder, I still feel they can get few very good ones in the EPL. I still believe Slot just believes this team is good enough. They will come over it. They will come over it, and they are not going to come over it sincerely. If you play, I can. How many clean sheets have they been able to keep this season? Even if Shooting Stars plays against Liverpool, they will score.
And it's still out to something. You said something about defensive midfielders in the EPL. We are looking at the defensive midfielders in the EPL. We want to count likes of Baleba, Anderson, of Nottingham Forest, Adam Watson. These clubs, they won't let them go. They will let them go in January.
So they have to go for the average
we
ones.
could see something in form of Tonali that his agent spoke to Arsenal about okay wanting Tonali to leave. Even Newcastle, they were adamant that they are not letting him go in January. So it's kind of difficult for a club to want to go for a quality midfielder during the January transfer window unless maybe the player wants to force his way out of the club, or the club actually doesn't want to deal the player again.
Okay, so let's talk about Manchester City. Are they back now?
No, they're not back. They're not back.
You didn't see enough in that game against Liverpool to convince you that
I'm not convinced.
maybe they can still give Arsenal some level of body hitting. You know,
I didn't see more. I think the thing is for Manchester City, I just
use something that looks like a 4-4-2 with Haaland and Mamouche looking like a double nine.
He has been playing that of recent.
Bernardo Silva and Semenyo.
Haaland and this guy from Bournemouth.
Semenyo. For Manchester City, I just feel
it looks like Haaland Mamouche worked better than Haaland Semenyo.
Yes.
Yeah, Haaland
Mamouche. Semenyo and Bernardo Silva on the wings, and then he used.
Mamouche can always drift into so many places, right? But unfortunately, Semenyo can't really drift. He's not actually a winger like that. So he's always better getting into that final third to score. So I think Mamouche is always better.
So Shalawa did say that Man City are still not back.
Yes, but I still feel they are not back. I didn't see enough yesterday. I didn't see enough in the terms of there are still teams that I still believe they don't have that total control like they used to have.
But Rodri is back.
Rodri is back, but I saw them against Newcastle. I saw them yesterday. They don't have that control they have for 90 minutes. If you are playing Manchester City, they will be on the ball for almost at least 80 to 85 minutes.
Like I said, we all know City to be this team that likes to control games. But right now, it feels like they are depending on individuality of the players, how good a particular player is.
Moments
of this player. Semenyo, Cherki, Haaland. You can see it in Haaland. It has reduced for Haaland as well. The goals have reduced. And I think one thing is, the fact that Cherki is not been starting too many games, that's kind of affecting them as well. I think they need Cherki to be starting. He needs to trust Cherki. I don't know why Pep doesn't really trust Cherki to be starting games. So he needs to start. He needs to be starting Cherki, because we could see that once Cherki came into the game yesterday,
very creative player.
The game changed. The ball where Haaland headed for Bernardo Silva, it came from a cross from Cherki. The penalty also came from a through ball from Ryan Cherki too as well. So I just feel he needs to trust Ryan Cherki more.
But eggs on Arsenal fans' faces right now. I mean, Arsenal fans, they were even more disappointed yesterday than Liverpool fans. But then Arsenal fans were thinking by this morning it's going to be 9 points. But then it's 6 points. Is there still a title race on? It's still very much Arsenal.
Well, the title is still on, but I'm not trusting Man City enough.
Title race is still on, but then I think right now it's all in Arsenal's hands. This is their title to lose. Anything else, then Arteta should be sacked.
Well, it's all in Arsenal's hands. This is their title race to lose. Well, let's see what that comes up with. Well, at the end of the season.